Let's see, what is today? Today's Friday, August 27th, 2021. And I'm John Lee with St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association, and we have Miss Kathy Davis for our weekly update on the crazy times we live in. So good to see everybody. Kathy, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Hey, everybody. It's good to see you too. I think that maybe you've all heard that the Supreme Court yesterday struck down the eviction moratorium. The first thing we thought, because we've become kind of pessimistic at this point, is we were wondering if the county council is going to try to put something in place instead of it, or, we don't know. We don't know what will happen next. In the city, they have a very convoluted order in place involving, even if the person hasn't filed an eviction a moratorium declaration, you still have to have a hearing to see if they're eligible, and which is kind of the bad news in the city. And we're not sure if the judge is going to rescind that order or what they're going to do. But hopefully we should know that soon. In the meantime, the city, Chris has been having good luck in the city, particularly with something I think called Horizon Housing Corporation, in getting rental assistance to the tenants. And we are generally in favor, if our client agrees to doing the assistance. Some of them have gotten quite a bit of money, and you usually only have to give up your right to evict for the part when you're paid. We think a lot of these people are going to be uncollectible. You're never going to see that money later. And if you can get the rental assistance, you should do it. And there's a lot of it. I mean, you get in the media and they're all like, oh, these people are going to lose their homes, and, and all this. I don't think there's that many people that are that far behind. There are some that are egregious, horrible situations, but for the most part, we've been able to evict most of the people, or get the rental assistance, or get them on pay plans. And we don't have a big backlog. With our sheriff evictions, we're caught up. I don't know if it's just the fact that my firm is brilliant and wonderful and has great people, or if it's, that seems, I'd like to think that, right? But I think that kind of is across the board in our area, that we're not behind. We're not behind on this. We don't have a big backlog. Sure, we'd like to get a ton of business in the door next week. Who wouldn't, right? But we're not really anticipating that happening. We think that tenants who were in need of help, for the most part, applied for the assistance, got payment plans with the landlord and that kind of thing. And you still have that small percentage of tenants that I've been living off of since 1985 that doesn't pay no matter what happens, or they get in situations where they don't pay. So we had a big docket in St. Louis County yesterday, and we're still doing the dockets on WebEx. And so I ended up I kept my notes from this. I ended up talking to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 people in breakout rooms. And Christine and Chris were also doing that, talking to people in breakout rooms. So most of them did consent judgments. Some of them, it was surprising to me, because they were saying they just now had applied for assistance. So they were just going to, but they owe several months. Why were they not doing this before now? I don't know, because they do everything late, whatever. But we're hoping that they'll get assistance. And we were able to work out with them time periods by which they would either get the assistance or get a pay plan or move. And, it's reasonable periods of time. It's not as fast as it would have been pre-pandemic, but it was reasonable periods of time. I did have several people I had to set for trial, and 3 of them were people who had just applied for assistance and wanted the time to get that worked out. Hopefully the county has gotten off its butt and is, delivering the assistance more quickly, but we'll see about that. And then I had 2 people that were crazy, and these are the kind of people that you're going to evict in any time. The one lady who said the voices inside her body were telling her it's the year of the Jubilee and she shouldn't pay her rent. I wouldn't exactly call what we were going through right now a Jubilee, but okay, if the voices inside your body are telling you not to pay your rent, that's going to be a trial setting. It's going to be a little annoying for the client. They're going to have to come to court. We're doing the trials in person, but we're going to win. And 10 days later, we're going to send for the sheriff, and the voices in the body better tell her how to get another place to live, because she's going to be gone. And then the other guy was a sovereign citizen. And I don't know if you've had sovereign citizens, but it starts out where you see that he's filed a thing called the affidavit, AFFA, affidavit of truth. And you know how those people are. They have all these crazy notions about the fringe on the flag and what their name really is in the jurisdiction of the court. So I went into the breakout room with them and I said, you know, I saw that it was an unlawful detainer. And I said, I represent your landlord and your landlord wants you to move. And he said, I know, but I'm not moving. And I looked at his file and saw this affidavit of truth and saw all this stuff. And I thought, well, I'm not getting anything out of him. And I said, okay, we can set the case for trial then. And he goes, good, I'm looking forward to it because I'm going to do all this, la, 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 la. And I said, well, so am I. So I said, so we need to go back into the main meeting and tell the judge that that's what we're going to do. And usually I will try to help people get out of the breakout room and try to tell them where to click and everything. But this guy thought, well, he knows it all. He doesn't need my help. We're going back in the main meeting. So I went back in the main meeting and told the judge, yeah, we're setting it for trial. He gave me the trial date. And I went back into the breakout room with a different guy, and sovereign citizen guy was still there. And he said, I can't figure out how to get out of the breakout room. And I'm thinking, oh, trial is going to go well for you. You know, that's not going to be a good day for you guys, dude. And I said, well, I thought you knew how to do all this, so I didn't think I needed to help you. So anyway, set for trial. If anybody wants to come to the courthouse on September 16th at 1:30 in Division 37, we're going to be having some fun with voices in our bodies and sovereign citizens and, you know, that kind of thing. And the way we usually work that is Christine will try the crazy people while I'm taking the relatively sane people out in the hall and settling with them in some way. You may have also heard, what else did I want to tell you guys? The money's coming out faster in the county. Still always enjoying and appreciating the reports for people who have situations with that. What else did I have for you? Somebody remind me, what did we talk about last time? We're hoping that the city will rescind their crazy order. We're hoping the county council won't do something nuts today. Oh yeah, the CaseNet thing, where they were making all landlord cases on the highest level of security. This turned out to be an even huger mess than I thought it was the last time I talked to you, because Christine was on vacation when they put out that order. And I filed a bunch of cases for her while she was gone, and she couldn't see them when she came back. We couldn't even see each other's cases. We can't see them on the docket. I went and talked to the presiding judge, the new presiding judge, Judge Ott, who is lovely. And she said something was going to be done about it. And she did stay the order. We still have a group of cases that were filed during that period that they haven't fixed yet, but we think they're going to unlock those. But again, they are still routinely case by case raising security levels and that kind of thing. So absolutely continue to refer to CaseNet and check, you know, prospective tenants on that kind of thing, but don't let that be your only resource. Use professional screening or do other screening yourself, or if you get an application, call prior landlords and, you know, that kind of thing. It's a CaseNet is helpful, but it's not going to be 100% accurate. We have always found that people had ways to fraud it by spelling their name differently and, you know, that kind of thing, so that when you did a search, it wouldn't necessarily turn them up. So just be cautious with that. I was kind of surprised that there wasn't more of an outcry about that order than there was, but within the courthouse, it was driving everybody nuts because they raised it to security level 5, which meant they couldn't even put it on the computer screens outside the courtroom that show people where to go and everything. So they were, there was vast unhappiness. And that judge, Judge Burton, retired. That was like his last order that he did on the way out the door. And maybe he's harboring a little resentment because of all the times we sued him. I don't know, but he's gone now. He really was a nice guy, but I think he just was listening to the wrong voices about that. So that should be fixed. But again, exercise caution and don't rely just on CaseNet for your referrals. Does anyone have any questions or comments or anything? Oh, and let me tell you now, before you do that, I'll be gone the next 2 weeks. Next week, I'm gonna be out of town visiting my husband's family. And then the week after that, I'm gonna have cataract surgery. And I'm being threatened that I have to stay home for a couple of days. So, but I am gonna see you. And I think Lloyd and John will have more information about this, but I am going to see you live in person on the 21st for your live meeting. And I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody in person. And I hope that we are going to be able to not have masks. And by then I should have my cataract fixed, so I won't be like Mr. Magoo, and hopefully I'll recognize everyone and be able to really see you. That's all I got. Anybody got any questions, comments?
Hey,
Hi,
Kathy.
Roger.
Hi, question, Kath. Was that Supreme Court thing connected with a particular case, or was it just a sort of general pronouncement?
I think that the National Apartment Association and maybe the National Association of Realtors, some trade organizations filed to have it stricken down. And it
Good.
went through the lower courts and they upheld the moratorium because of precedent. But I think at both the trial court level and at the lower appellate level, they all agreed that the Supreme Court was probably going to strike it down, but it was going to be up to the Supreme Court.
Mhm.
I mean, frankly, now I realize that we have the Delta variant, all that kind of stuff, but really you can get a vaccine if you choose, and plenty of places are hiring. I don't think that we're in the crisis state that we were in last year. This should not be restricting activities as much as some people would have.
I mean, it's kind of weird because of the Delta. It's like we're sort of going in two different directions at once. But I agree. It seems like people are still opening back up anyway.
Right.
So
I'm amazed at how many tenants I talk to in court, the ones I set for trial and come to court and they haven't paid. It's because of COVID and that kind of thing. And in our courtroom, we're allowed to take off our masks if we're all vaccinated, and they're not vaccinated. So they want to sit home and collect the free rent or not pay and enjoy the eviction moratorium, but they don't want to get vaccinated and get a job. I quit my job because of COVID. Well, if you're scared of COVID, get the vaccine. Get a job.
Kathy,
And I think I've already lectured you guys on, my whole philosophy of why shift the economic burden of the pandemic just to the property owners. That's not fair. And David, I think you have.
yeah. So I sent you a part of the apartment association is filing a lawsuit for tenants that can go. Did I understand it right? They're going to sue, or not tenants, but lounges are going to sue the CDC to get their rent.
Well, we're actually doing a local lawsuit on that, where we're suing the courts. We think it should work. We're not sure it will, but we're enjoying that. And I think they feel like it's a taking. In the Constitution, you're not allowed to take the government can't take private property without compensation. So we have things like when they widened 40, the people's yards they took got money. There's a specific part in the Constitution that talks about, giving, like bunking the army in your house. I mean, I think they did that in the Revolutionary War. I don't think they're bunking the army in our houses right now, but they took your property, by not allowing you the use of it, by not allowing you to put people out when they violated lease terms and didn't pay. They took your property. You were deprived of the use of your property. So we think it's a classic constitutional issue, and we think it should work. I'm surprised there aren't more lawsuits about it. We'd like to see it work. In the meantime, the bird in the hand might be the rental assistance, and it might be smart to get that if you can. I just had an email from someone who got $24,000 for a tenant. So that's a nice chunk of change. And my understanding is that some of the programs will pay not only all the back rent up to a year, but also 3 months in advance. So that gives you a little breathing room, as well as your tenant, to be sure to have the funds in hand and that kind of thing, and figure out where we're going next on this.
What was the date of that trial that you said September 16th, and where's it going to be?
Division 37, St. Louis County at 1:30.
Kathy, it's Sandra Holtmeyer. I have a question. Hi. I just purchased a property in the city that has a former paying tenant in the lower level. It's a duplex, and it's gone through a couple of investors. Nobody felt like collecting, so now I own it. How is the city looking at change of ownership when there's no lease and there's someone living there not paying?
Okay, that's kind of a legal problem, because if you don't have a lease or a tenancy that was assigned to you when you bought it, you might not have the right to do the simple quote unquote rent and possession kind of eviction. We might have to do an unlawful detainer or an ejectment to get them out. What I advise landlords to do sometimes in that situation is see if you can sign them up for a couple of months at a really cheap rent that they'll pay to establish a landlord-tenant relationship. And if you do that with a month-to-month tenancy or a lease for, a short period of time, you can raise that rent or terminate that tenancy fairly readily. And then you'll be able to do the easier associate circuit court fast eviction option.
If they sign the lease, if they agree to that. So
Yeah.
they won't even answer the door and talk to us.
Well, call me or call Chris and, we can talk to you about an ejectment, look at your paperwork and figure out the best way to go.
Sure. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else?
You thought about selling tickets? Tell Christine she's going to have a crowd.
Well, I told Christine after dealing with the sovereign citizen guy, I said I get dibs on that trial, but she'll probably try them. She'll probably try the case as well. We have like 7 set, so 2 are crazy people. So I'll probably settle the other 5 while she's doing the crazy people trials. We'll see. Sometimes the crazy people don't show up. It's like a whole strategy where they don't show up and then a few days later they file a motion to set aside and, try to drag it out. We have strategies back for that, but what we've really gotten to the point where we do now is if it's set for trial, we try it. If they're not there, we try it. So it's not a default, it's a judgment on a trial. So that sometimes works.
Will that be on WebEx?
No, our trials are in person now.
Okay.
So it will be in person.
Okay.
What time does that start in Division 37? Is that a 9 o'clock start?
It's 1:30 for the trials on the 16th.
In the afternoon. Docket.
Yeah, the way they're doing it now is we have our dockets in the morning and they do 3 WebEx dockets at 9, 10, and 11. And then they do the motions and the trials after lunch. And we have a new judge and he's very nice, Judge Medler. And we've told him that, back in the day, we could do our whole docket at 9, our motions at 9:30 and the trials at 10 and everybody be done at lunch. But since we can't do the dockets in person yet, we're not quite doing that yet. And when we have a huge docket, like yesterday, a huge WebEx docket where there were over 250 cases, it just takes a while to get through that. In my firm, we put several people on it to go into the breakout rooms and talk to people, but some of the firms don't do that. They just have one person. It takes them forever. Yeah. Okay. Somebody has a message for Roger in the chat. Okay, so I think we're good. It's good to see everybody. I feel like maybe it's me, but I feel like you all look happier and good today. So I hope everybody stays safe and I'll see you on the 21st. And I won't be here for this call for the next 2 weeks, but I'll see you whatever date it is after that. Hopefully I survived the cataract surgery.
Thank you so much. The best to you.
Guys. Everybody have a great weekend, a great Labor Day holiday. I'll see you soon.
Thanks. Okay. Lloyd, you still there somewhere? Did we lose Lloyd? Anybody wants to stick around?